Now I'm very excited to welcome back Mr. Sean Higgs from Picks and Parlays and Midday Money. You can follow Sean on X at Mr. Sean Higgs. Sean, we inch closer to football season, my man. How is your summer going?
Pretty good, I'd say. First of all, thanks for having me, Kiev. Good to see you. I know it's football season when I get to come on, hang out with you for a bit and talk some footies, and I'm sure, hopefully November, December, I'll see you for some college hoops one day, a little bit there, or March maybe, whenever, some college basketball.
Oh,
but yeah, summer. And listen, like I said, week 0, couple weeks away, but NFL's sort of here, right? Preseason tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can't complain. I've had a good baseball season, so things are going well. Good summer.
Well, good, because I was trying to think of something more clever to say, and I was just like, "Oh, how's your summer going?" You answered it well.
Well, I mean, because normally it'd be like, "Oh, how you hitting them?" But it's summertime. What do you got? I hope it's like you're rolling the dice. Hopefully, he's having a good baseball season. Otherwise, what else? You been on hermit crab races at the boardwalk.
I'm glad you're having a good baseball season. That's fantastic. I'm not, so good for you. Mine's down a little bit. It's not like terrible, but it's annoying. How is this year different in football last year, in college football? How would you compare it kind of coming in? And obviously, you can't compare necessarily the season, but like the feel of it coming in for 2026.
I guess like every year is different because you got your transfers and your nil and coaches and stuff like that. But maybe this year's a little more different with the Pac-12 and Mountain West kind of crazy changes, right? You got a bunch of new stuff there going on. But honestly, I feel with football, it's especially college, isn't it? It's always kind of changing. It's always different. Yeah. There's no, you can't put your thumb down on it. There's no, it's this way. Not the new college football era. It's a spinning wheel nonstop, and you just kind of got to grab on and work your way in there.
You certainly do, and you're right. The Pac-12 is the biggest difference in all the movement you get. 2 new teams. Now you're 138. Are we going to get to 356 like we are in college basketball? So, I think they're going to the Big Ten and the SEC will pull themselves before that happens. But I mean, still 138. It's a lot to prep for, and you just got to do your best. And the different thing for me is last year's quarterbacks weren't looking as good as this year's quarterbacks coming in, and that's just a very general statement. We could be all wrong by draft time, and the quarterbacks all kind of just blend together, but that's what I see. But you have always been, I've always paid attention to you in college football more than other cappers. You got some special qualities you like. What makes yourself different, Sean, than other cappers out there?
And this will sound weird. I guess I don't mind losing. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna take losses. So you got to get that that thick leather skin there. So you got to be able to know that's coming, right? I mean, really, people don't talk about that. There's always like, oh, win, and I'm an old school guy. I've been doing a long time. I mean, I was doing this before a lot of these new Instagram parlay cats were even born. Like I was way before analytics were cool and DVOAs and all that. It was just gambling kind of stuff. But again, the difference is I'm not scared to just get ahead and say, this is my opinion. I'm going to roll out 12 games week 1 of college. I'm going to do 8 games opening Sunday of NFL. I got my teams I like. I think they're going to be this way. I see the number. I'm going to move on it. That's and a lot of people don't do that, right? You have guys, I don't do the first 2 weeks. I don't do the first month. I need data. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. You could read so many preview magazines and read articles or blogs, watch videos. Nobody knows. You don't know how the teams are going to perform. I mean, we're talking USA. I mean, we're talking about Liberty. They were supposed to be the Cats' pajamas last year. How were they? They were terrible.
Yeah, they were horrible.
It doesn't. You have to be able. Again, you got to adjust on the fly with this stuff. Like, all right, this is not the team I thought it's going to be. I'm off of them, and just that's that.
It's funny. I always look at you as you can kind of read into the thoughts of the players a lot more than the average person. I feel like you kind of get into their heads and know if there's a right side there, that's a dog. And I always appreciate how you do that really well. And that's a cool thing about you as well. But you're right. You can't worry about losing. If you worry about losing, you're in the wrong sport. You're in the wrong business. You just gotta take the wins as losses, and hopefully you're profitable. And a long-term track record, you're doing great. So I agree with you there, man.
It is. It's again, the dogs. I like dogs. I don't live with dogs. You can't live with a dog in any sport. This is everything. You got to be able to mix and match them. But to be scared, people, I can't do that. Yeah. And my number one, Kevin, we talked about this during basketball season too. Oh, look at this. So it's the so easy lines, right? It's like, no, I'll go against those every single time. I don't care if it loses. There's how many college football games on like a big Saturday in September? 80 of them or something. It'll be something
60,
ridiculous.
Yeah, 60-ish.
And there might be like 4 games that are just totally like way easy. I'm going to go the uneasy way. I'll take the 4 dogs. Maybe they go 0-4. But you know what? I know by the end of November in regular season, that 0-4 is going to turn into like a 37 and 24 kind of run or something like that, or 37 and 30, where I'll be up money. It's a long season. A lot of games. Absolutely.
Those easy lines are never easy. If the easy lines are easy, the books would be out of business. Obviously, you have to always look for reasons on the other side. That's why I say, if you're capping something, try to talk yourself into the other side. Maybe, that's a good exercise, and see why you think this way. Why does everybody think this way? And it's so funny. It's like, I feel like there's so many echo chambers out there, Sean, and a lot of people just kind of saying the same thing, and then they just grab onto it. And then you have Liberty, like you said last year. You have Western Kentucky. You have these teams that were supposed to be way better and ended up crap. But Baylor was supposed to be good last year. I just gave out the Baylor's season win total under. They're horrible. There's all kinds of these teams that you find and massively underestimate. Florida State beats Alabama. Oh, they're gonna go to the Final Four.
Yeah, Florida State. How'd that work out? Florida State.
Yeah, not good.
But you made a good point about the echo chambers, right? Like people, you got your bias. Like, oh, he likes it too. That's good, right? Oh, so and so. I respect their opinion on my game. I like it more. That's why I like to get it ahead of time. I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna have my own opinion first. And if I'm wrong, that's all right. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong 340 times in baseball already this year. You know what? I'm still up 75 units, 78 units. I don't care about being wrong. That's fine. You're going to be wrong, So
you got to roll.
But you don't want to get caught up in the moment, though. Like you said, you don't want to just be jumping on everybody's. I love Team X.
Let's get into a little Conference USA, my man. Maybe we'll be less wrong on some of this good stuff for our listeners. I look at Conference USA. I see a ton of variance. I think there's a lot of variance in a lot of different leagues because, the American kind of got a little bit back to earth where you can make a case for 8 teams. The Sun Belt too, with James Madison losing other guys. But I just feel like this Conference USA might even be a little bit crazier than people think. Lots of transfers out of this league. They're bringing a lot of kids from FCS in. But, since we can look at that, let's start with alphabetical order. Delaware is plus 700 to win the conference. The Blue Hens, their season win total is 5.5, juice to the over at minus 166. Coach Ryan Carty is back. And, this team has a quarterback that is also back in Nick Minichucci. I look at Delaware. They actually weren't that bad last year. It was interesting is even though they're negative 0.34 yards per play, they had a pretty decent offense and 36 in success rate, 47th in EPA. Their defense is where they struggled at 111th in EPA, but they still somehow won games. But the way I kind of look at it is this team returned a lot of production compared to the rest of Conference USA. What do you have for Delaware?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Delaware. The offense won't miss a beat. They got the quarterback, looks really good. Problem is that defense was terrible. Bad defense. This is a team, second season here, right, for FBS for them on the move up.
Yeah.
This conference, like you mentioned, we got a lot of new quarterbacks. You got some little side-to-side movement with guys. This is I think, a middle-of-the-pack kind of team, right, for them. But if things go right, they get the they're not losing by 3. They're pulling out a win by 3 in these things. They're going to stop. I think the smaller leagues like this is where your quarterback can make the difference and kind of put you over the top where you're having a surprise season. Like we saw that with Liberty and Western Kentucky in past years. Like Zapp, wasn't Zappy in Western Kentucky throwing for like 5,000 yards? I mean, you got these smaller schools sometimes you come in and you have just a Rambo year like that and it catapults you. I sort of like them a little bit as my dark horse here.
I do too. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that was the only one I bet is plus 700 for the Delaware Blue Hens. I just feel like they blend like you said, everything blends together. And why not take the plus 700 over the 260, 280 teams? You know, they're 25th in returning production. Like I said, they're the highest returning production team in all of FBS. All of Conference USA, not FBS, or ranked 25th. But Ryan Carty has a system there. He's been there for a while. Minichucci throws 3,683 passing yards. When it comes to Conference USA, because of the transfer portal and, everybody's losing everybody, I almost feel like returning production might make a comeback when it comes to these smaller leagues. It's like returning production for Alabama or Georgia, who cares, or Ohio State. It's more about maybe a little bit more important. So I'm with you, man. I like Delaware here at the plus 700, and I believe that I took them a little bit over their season win total. So I'm with you on that one. I'm a fan of the Blue Hens this year. We're going to try to roll with the Blue Hens. Let's move on to the next team here. And I have written down FIU in alphabetical order, plus 800 to win the conference. Season win total 7.5, juice to the under, minus 136. That's a pretty high season win total for an FIU team, in my opinion. They have a very easy non-con. Coach Willie Simmons is back with quarterback J.J. Cole transferring in from Appalachian State. He played a few games there. He's a big guy at 6'7". What do you think about FIU?
This coach, when I was looking up, earlier on this guy, he never had a losing season, it says. Back in his, again, the subdivision or whatever. Regardless, that kind of stuff, Kiev, right? That is what carries over to these small schools here. And I say small schools, I know they're D1, but they're smaller schools.
Right.
That kind of coaching up, talent level, rising up, that's the kind of stuff that really separates like a FIU from like a Sam Houston who's in a total rebuild, right? Like, I like this team. You got a good coach, and I thought about. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the futures in a minute with these guys, but no, I'm with you on this bunch here. I like them.
Yeah, they weren't too bad. They're only minus 0.27 net yards per play, and that plus 800 smacks you right in the face. It tells you that the sharper people knocked that down a little bit earlier in the season, and they were just a team that probably should have won a few more games, maybe lost some coin flip games themselves. 84th in offensive success rate, 98th in offensive EPA, but their defense actually carried them a little bit more. 77th in offensive EPA, right? This JJ Cole is interesting as a quarterback coming in. He's a big guy at 6'7", dude. 250. Yeah, 6'7" kids, right? I've said that so much, my son hates it now, so I was able to get that out of him, that 6'7" crap. But either way, he was solid at App State too. For the games
he was an Iowa State product first, right? And he was supposed to go Iowa. He was an Iowa State recruit back in the day.
That sounds right. I sounds right. I can't confirm, but that does sound right to me. Return production not bad. I mean 95th, but you're talking Conference USA here, and the fact that they brought in this big boy kind of gives you a little bit of hope. I think I'll be betting on them probably as a dog. So I'll be, looking forward to that. And especially when it comes to conference time. So, be prepared for some of those plays. Let's move on to Jacksonville State. And this team is plus 450 to win the conference.
These guys.
Season win total 7.5. Now if you remember, they played Kennesaw State last year for the championship. Juice to the under -136 for that 7.5. Coach Charles Kelly is back after a great first year. Obviously Rich Rod leaves. Coach Kelly comes in. Quarterback Caden Creel returns. So that's interesting. You got a little continuity on the quarterback side. Lost a bunch of other guys, but it's a team that is a pretty run heavy first team, right? They run first, and they play at a pretty moderate pace. What are your thoughts on the Gamecocks?
Well, you mentioned the quarterback for them. We had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,500 yards passing, and 10 touchdowns last year. So the old dual threat, we see a lot of that out of these schools.
Yeah,
I like them. I mean, how do you complain about a team? And it was a defensive team last year too. Like it wasn't like a crazy offense. They had a good running back. He's gone, but they were more defensive. But if you look at them, a lot of close games. Yeah. 7-2. I was going through their thing. 2, 3, 3, and 3-point wins. That is the old, playing with fire kind of thing there.
It sure is.
That are you going to catch every break in those things? I think they have 4 straight wins or seasons of 9 wins. Again, that was, it was Rich Rod. Now this guy's taking over. I don't know if you could win like that. That's, especially a new running back by committee, or maybe somebody breaks out. I'd be a little hesitant on it just based on we've seen this in this. I'm going to throw more NFL out there, but you see teams when they win the big turnover battle and stuff like that and get close wins, they regress the next year.
Yeah,
you could go from 9-4 to that could turn into a 5-7 season or a 4-8 season pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely, sure can. This team. One score games, it's funny. You look at the 2 teams that represented the Conference USA in the championship game, them and Kennesaw State. They're like Jacksonville State was only 0.28 yards per play. And I just talked about a team that was negative 0.24 yards per play and probably should have, maybe even FIU should have maybe even been in there. Delaware maybe should have even been in there, right? But it's so funny how this conference blends together because we're going to move into Kennesaw State here next. And Kennesaw State has the same deal. They won their 1-score games, and winning those 1-score games is obviously extremely important. Kennesaw State comes in with a coach that returns. He comes back, and Jerry Mack, that's his name, and quarterback Ricky Collins transfers in from Syracuse. After last year's quarterback, Amari Odom, transferred to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? But if you're Ricky Collins coming in from this from Syracuse, because you're kind of like shunned, right? You weren't going to be the starter at Syracuse, otherwise you went to Kansas. You're going to have a chip on your shoulder, I feel. I feel like he's going to come in. You have a season win total 6.5, juice to the under -130. They're 10-1 to win the conference. So it's just, a good price. I mean, I didn't take it, but what do you think about the Kennesaw State Owls?
Good coaching staff, aggressive defense. I get the quarterback will have a chip on his shoulder, but how many? I mean, is it? Let me show you I'm better than the guy who replaced me at his old school, because we've seen a lot of transfer quarterbacks. Doesn't mean they come in and
it does mean
you know what I'm saying. You think they'd all have a chip on their shoulder and come in and be good.
Yeah, right.
Who knows about that? Conference champs last year, good defense. You mentioned the Syracuse guy. The most recent post I've seen on these guys, they got 4 quarterbacks in the rotation right now. They're battling it out. So he's not even a sure thing in there. And as well as I do, Kev, if they have a battle like that, they'll be rolling 2 guys in the first game. They'll be like, oh, here's here's a transfer, but you know what? They like the way this guy kind of threw in spring, or he's got the legs to do X or Y or make plays happen. So we're going to probably have a 2-headed monster at some point, or there'll be an injury. Oh, he hurt his leg or something, and somebody else gets a start. I don't know. I mean, I know they went from 2 wins to 10 or whatever, but defense really good. If I'm looking at this team, I'm looking maybe for just game unders for them with questionable quarterback playing a strong defense.
Well, they did win Conference USA last year. They beat Jackson State in a 1-score game, of course. As punishment, you'll lose your.
They went from 2-10 to 10-4. I mean, that's some good coaching there. But again, you get some close Your quarterback's gone, Kiev.
Everybody, like their key guys left, and they're left with some production, but they still only rank 83rd in returning production. Yeah.
If it's June and July and I got 3-4 guys who I don't have a number one quarterback yet, I'm not really all that team I'm going to run to back straight out of the gate. That is definitely not going to happen.
Right. I feel you there, man. Well, let's move on to the next team. And you mentioned them earlier, Liberty. That was the school with all the money. The school that was supposed to win it all last year and couldn't even make a freaking bowl game. Imagine that all under 5.5. You know, that would have been fun. What was that, like 20-1 last year? Probably
4-8.
Jesus, man, they're plus 270 this year to win the conference as the favorite. The season win total is 8.5, but it is juiced to the under, at least minus 140. Jamie Chadwell, he had that great season a while ago with Coastal Carolina and the Chanticleers, but this guy hasn't done shit since he left the Chanticleers, in my opinion. Ethan Vasco is going to try to battle back for a starting quarterback position. This is another one with the unsure quarterback controversy. You got Deshaun Purdue, or I think that's his name, for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
Yeah, I mean, what's your? Let's hear it on Liberty.
All right, so to me, I look at this team here. He came in hot, 9-0 his first season in conference play, 5-3. Now 3-5 last year. Bad year again. You're supposed to win the whole thing, and a lot of people are on him. I see a lot of people on Liberty to win. CUSA this year. Obviously, most talented roster. You got all the nil. I don't know. I'm not that. Just because you have the talent, it's one thing. You were winning at one school. This is a little. I mean, I know at the time it was kind of like, why would you kind of make this lateral move, right? You're going from this one small school to another kind of small school.
Sure.
But the conference is a little tougher. And what I've seen since he got here, his coaching or whatever the case may be, it's gone down. Like, this team won before he came there, and now they're not doing what they did beforehand. Who's that on? That's on the coach.
Right.
That's coaching. I was talking about guys who's has a winning record every year as coach. This guy's getting worse with better players and more money. I'm not a buyer of Liberty. I know. Listen, 21 turnovers last year or minus, right? Mm-hmm. You can't coach that. You can't handicap that happening.
Nope.
But 4 losses by a score, again, that's why you're down. You're probably favored in those games. I don't have their odds in front of me from last year every spread, but that team was favored. That was a favorite team. They're losing 1-score games. They're probably a 1+ score touchdown favorite in those games.
Right.
That's not again, not something I'm interested in. You got the Wake Forest and the West Virginia guy battling for the QB spot. Probably the Wake kids, I think, has the lead, but I don't know. His conference record the last 3 years going down, maybe he's a little overmatched there.
Maybe so. I think so. I think he is too. And I'm not saying that I'm bailing on them as we'll give them another year type situation, but it is where why couldn't you stop the run? Ranking 116th in rushing success rate, 105th in defensive rush EPA. Their offense was not good, but they were barely positive net yards per play, but they were very yin and yang last year. The money scares me that they do have money to pay people. And when I move on to, the transfer portal, they rank 86, which is good for Conference USA. I mean, 247, if you're ranking 86, that's high for them. And their returning production is somewhat high, ranking 49th. So I can see them doing good.
Did they lose, like, the last 3 games they lost, I think, were all overtime losses. Is that right? Do I remember that correctly from looking at their schedule last year? I don't know if you have it in front of you.
Yeah, I do have it in front of me. It was overtime. The last 3 games went overtime. The very final last 3. It was
and they lost them all, right?
They lost every single one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that kept them out of the bowl game. I mean, you had 4 wins in the bank. You just had to win 2 of those. You lost all your overtime games at the end. That's coaching too. That's the worry I have. I mean, I've been really looking at them the first week against James Madison at the plus 6.5. I didn't take it. My number's 3.5. But I'm just kind of saying we'll get to 7 because there's going to be all these people betting James Madison. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at for week 1. I didn't, obviously that could be a later question, but
see, yeah. I'd lean with you there because I see 2.5s and 6.5s. I think we talked about this last year. I like the dogs in those draws. I think it's like, oh, the home team or the home team, the favorite just got to win by a field goal. They got to win by a touchdown, where it looks that easy. Where if it was 7.5, I'd be like, oh, James Madison's going to win by 14. Like 3.5. It's a nice 17-point win. Like I like laying the extra half point because that's where everybody's gonna be like, oh, I'm going to get that and only lose by so-and-so. No, I feel like if it's over that touchdown, over that field goal, it's going to be a double-digit win. And when it's underneath those key numbers, it's going to be an upset or they're right in that number at the end.
Let's go to Middle Tennessee State then. And this team was hot garbage. They're 50-1 to win the conference this year. Their season win total is 3.5, juiced to the over -160. Coach Derek Mason is back.
I know.
Was he 7-17? I think he's pretty bad.
It's least experienced team. Back-to-back 3-win seasons.
Roman Gagliano is a quarterback. It looks like. I think
you're supposed to have year 3, like the old days. Year 3 was supposed to be your year as a coach. You got a whole recruiting classes there, your guys, right? It's everybody's on the same page with how we're going to do things. This team, I think, is garbage. How does Derek
Mason was that Vanderbilt coach for a long time.
Yes,
and he was just I mean, Gagliano was brought up in the system here. Interestingly, they have this new coordinator there as well. They have Anthony Scalfo, I believe, that comes in from Southeast Louisiana State. So I don't know why he's not listed as the play caller there. But either way, because I'm looking at 2 sites here, so there's a little bit of a conflict here, but Middle Tennessee State was hot garbage last year, as we mentioned earlier. One of the worst in FBS. I've just over the years remember how far I've downgraded these teams. Easy schedule, minus 0.42 yards per play, ranking 129th in offensive or defensive passing EPA. They were only ranked 98th in offensive success rate, 112th in offensive EPA. It was just, one of those teams you barely bet on unless they're playing someone really bad. But they somehow went 6-6 against the spread. So it's not like, the market kind of had them pegged. Their totals was 6 for 6. I just don't see Derek Mason being a good coach ever. So I'm fading the coach.
I'm with you. Again, he hasn't shown he could develop people. There's no experience. Right? You got and I'm seeing for QB wise is who is he? Roman Gagliano. That's who I see. And I know Scafaliano is in there for as a back. So you're right about that. But again, this is everywhere I look. The numbers, what do we got here? 3.3 wins. I got them. No, thank you.
No thanks at all.
No, it's what we're going to come in bash. We were talking about like how many teams there are. Some teams, are just not going to be good. Maybe the surprise. I'll worry about that in October if they somehow win their first 4 games and they upset somebody. But this is a no thank you team for me.
Yeah, I wish we can give you more on that. Their tempo was pretty high last year, so I would like to say Anthony Scalfano is going to speed it up more. Coming from Southeast Louisiana State, where they scored a lot of points there, but it wasn't that many points, and I don't know what he's going to do. I can't tell you he's going to be like top 18, top 20 in speed and tempo this year. So I'm even afraid to bet the overs right now. This is just a stay away team for now for me.
It's because of the offense, the defense. Mason's a defensive guy. They give up 30 points a game in back-to-back seasons.
He's supposed to be a defensive guy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's supposed to be, and he's giving up 30 a game, and you got a rebuild on defense again.
Let's move to Missouri State at 28-1 to win the conference. Season win total 4.5, juice to the under, minus 170. New coach Casey Woods comes in from being an offensive coordinator at SMU. to replace what Ryan Beard built. And Ryan Beard did a pretty good job with this team.
Yeah.
They're on the fringe of making the championship, but then they lost to Kennesaw State and Louisiana Tech. Quarterback competition there. You got Skylar Locklear from UTEP. You got Henry Berlin from Duke, and I like Berlin better. He's just bigger. What do you think about Missouri State and the Bears?
Well, you got the new SMU guy. It's like we said about the other team. You got two guys battling. Do you have any?
No.
And according to their own blog, they didn't have enough offensive linemen to run spring practice. How is that even possible? I'll go play. I mean, I'll suit up. I'm a 300-pound cat. I can get in there. I'll give you some plays.
I'll be
all right. I'll be a center. I'm all right. I'll be in there. I think this team's going to be bad. I think the SMU coach is going to be in for a long season. I mean, you got a UTEP quarterback.
We'll call it honeymoon year. Missouri.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, you get that, right? It's my first year. Let me see what I have here left over before I need what I got to bring in here. So I think they're definitely going to fall off from 7 wins. What do I have, about 4 wins here? I got them at 4.2.
Okay. I'll tell you how many wins I have Missouri State at, then I'll break it down a little bit for their team. So many teams to go through. 3.88. I got them at 3.88 wins. So it's kind of
everybody's got them at 4.
Yeah, I mean the numbers were pretty close to 4, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's that bettable because you're way off. I mean, you can't really look at this team last year because they rank 129th in returning production, right? And that is just way too much to replace, especially when a new coach comes in. And I don't know, Skylar Locklear wasn't good at UTEP. Henry Bellin might be better. I would assume that hopefully he wins, and I can maybe have a little confidence in this team because I'm not going to have confidence from the UTEP guy coming in. If you go by what happened last year, it's tough, but you're looking at a lot of FCS transfers, right? And when that's the case, you better run for the hills because that is not a good recipe, to win games, and probably a fade team right from the start because people are going to look at what they were last year and maybe think that they're not going to regress nearly as much as what I think that they're going to do. So they did go bowling last year, and I give them props for that. But this is another brand new team, and once you have success, you move on, and that's what we deal with in Conference USA.
It's tough with the quarterback situation. You got him, and as I said, maybe it's a little easier in NFL. There's less teams. Maybe it's a little easier with bigger schools in college to get a read on these middle tier teams with quarterback battles. I got to see something first. I got to be like, all right. The defense looks good. You got some returning experience at a skill position, but who's getting those guys the ball? It's tough. It's tough finding information on these quarterbacks in their practices this time of year, man. It is rough. It is rough sledding, man. You start digging around looking for any kind of information of who's got the lead here.
Yeah, I mean their offensive line. I only see like 2 guys with 3 stars in there, and they get an F+ from CFB depth. Their tight end crew is 2-star guys, C+. Their receiver core got an F from I don't know why. I thought Jamari Robinson, I should say. It was okay.
They got some returning guys at least. At least they were. But again, if you got a new coach, doesn't make a difference if he's going to say, "Oh no, we're not going left. We're going to go right the whole time this year," or whatever. He's going to change it up. You don't know how that guy's going to respond.
Yeah, they expect a spread offense here, and we'll see how that works. The 50 and most of these are spread, but 56% pass, 44% run, pretty fast-paced team this year. So if they're going to lose fast. I like betting against fast-paced garbage because they lose fast, and the numbers keep.
You got to worry about it. All right, hope that's in the bag by halftime. Like, all right, that's looking good. I can move on. I wasn't looking good so far. Let's hold on.
Yeah. We spent enough time on them. Let's go to New Mexico State and the Aggies. Not that we're upgrading here. 28-1 to win the conference. Season win total also 4.5. exactly flat, -110, 4.5. Coach Tony Sanchez returns with a 7-17 record in this conference. Trey Hedden transfers in at quarterback from FCS Furman. Now, Furman was a pretty good team last year, but, a quarterback comes in. Am I supposed to be jumping for joy here? Probably not so much. What are your thoughts on the New Mexico State Aggies?
4 losses last year within a score. So that's pretty good, considering they only scored 20 points a game last year, right? 21 points a game?
Yeah.
And you're hanging tough in there. And this isn't like, oh, you know what, we got to keep them off the field, so let's just grind it out and beat them as a close game. That's not they're losing by a score because they're actually in the game. They play a little defense. They could do a little something on offense. I like the Furman move. Let's be honest. That guy, and he's going to get the start over last year's returning starter. And if that team was competitive, again, competitive it can be when you're losing, but if you're within striking distance and you're bringing a guy who's a little bit better at center, and your 21 points go to maybe 24 points, that's a switch. That could easily be 2 wins instead of 2 losses. So what is their total here? 4.5? I think they could do 5.
It's 4.5. My number, I gotta pull it up here just from a percentage basis. Obviously, is I'm pretty low on them. Maybe I was just low last year. I'm like 3, a little over 3.5 wins. So, that's tough. But here's the thing: it's this Furman quarterback. Am I too low on him because I'm not properly rating this Furman quarterback? That's very possible. That's possible. Maybe I need to jump him a few points, and in these exercises, I can, take another look on what he did. I know Furman was good, so he's probably a pretty decent quarterback, but they ranked 127th in offense last year. That is piss poor. And you're 133rd in rushing success rate. There's just, I don't see a lot of upside here unless this quarterback lights it up, because if this quarterback lights it up, everything changes. They were negative 0.87 yards per play on a pretty easy schedule last year. But
but does he even have to light it up as bad as the other guy was? He just has to be average to get him win. And there's some bad teams here. Mm-hmm. You have, 5 teams with like maybe under 5 win totals here. So you got some winnable games. And then it comes in, can you steal one versus one of the other middle teams?
Yep, that's how to look at it. There's winnable games. They'll have to steal one. I'm they're probably my 10th or 11th worst team. Maybe I'll relook at that and bump them up a little bit, but I'm going to be very careful with New Mexico State. Let's move on to Sam Houston Bearcats. And man, we're just hitting these bangers now, right? Just talent everywhere. 80-1 to win the conference. So this is supposed to be the worst team in the conference. Their season win total is 3.5. Juice to the under. Coach Phil Longo continues his demise at 2-10 last season. I remember he was the offensive coordinator for my Badgers for a while. Before that, he was on North Carolina. Quarterback Landon Locke returns and is a lock to start this year after playing 6 games, but he did win 2. Oregon State was one of them, believe it or not. That was fun.
Yeah.
I think Oregon State completely just did not care about that game, but maybe they weren't good either anyway. It's not like you give them that much credit, but they beat Delaware too. I give more credit for the Delaware win than all of a sudden everyone bets on them and they shit their pants at Middle Tennessee State. That's how it is though, right? It's like, everyone's like, okay, they're moving, new quarterback. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure so many people got their ass kicked in that game. I don't know. There's nothing really. I hate Phil Longo. I think you want to start right there with the coach and his spread offense and his higher pace. It's just a situation like we like to fade that I just mentioned earlier. What do you think about the Bearcats?
0, no money for these guys. They have nothing. They have nothing to pay, which is weird. They're right. I got a guy down the street. He's a kid. He's actually a guy now. He played for them back, a couple years ago. He's in his,
Yeah, you told me that. I think we talking basketball.
Yeah. So I'm always kind of cheering for him, but they can't get anything going down here. Whatever. Good. You got a returning starter, quarterback. He's a sophomore, but you're 2-10. You score 18 points a game. You give up 40. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I like them in week one. We'll talk about week one stuff coming up, I guess. I mean, there's not really much I can say with a team that goes 2-10 and gives up 40 a game. There's only one. Can you be worse?
I don't know. That's why they're favored to be the worst team. I don't know if they'll be the worst team. I think they're competing with like Missouri State and Middle Tennessee State. I think they're competing for the worst team with those two teams. The rest of them are okay. And I mean,
somehow, how did they get an all conference USA player? Did they flip from Kennesaw? How did they get that guy?
Some dude paid him under the table. I don't know. These teams have money and they'll just overspend for somebody and not, keep the rest of the team whole. And sometimes they think that they're not bad in a position group, but that they get like a D+ for tight end, C+ for offensive line. What's funny is that
we could talk about whether this is football or basketball, these smaller schools. How the heck can they think we're good in a position? Like, they have to look at it and be like, all right, we have to obviously they got to get better everywhere. Sam Houston in Texas never be Texas or Texas Tech or something.
I'm not high.
Fifth smallest no budget in FBS.
Is that what Sam Houston is? Fifth smallest for budget?
That's terrible.
You think that the state of Texas, they would be the stepping stone for everybody, right?
My son by his senior year when he's on varsity, he's on for a couple of years. They do their little fundraisers. Dude, the high school, the parents were like $75,000, $80,000, $90,000 for the high school varsity team.
Insane.
$85,000, Kiev. That's what they raised off of Lululemon. Let's go get our team shirts for the moms and that. Like, you're telling me Sam Houston can't raise $100,000 to pay somebody like $20,000 for the year? How is that possible?
The cabanas at the circuit cost more than that.
That's seriously. What the heck? How are they? You can spend more at the HEB. Come on. They're hatch peppers. What are we doing here to Texas? Get behind Sam Houston.
I don't know. It's a pretty bad situation for the Bearcats, obviously. And it all is just that coach Phil Longo. I just can't believe in him. I mean, you can rate these position groups like from CFB, depth. Any of them can try to rate them as much as they can. I just can't see a coach making them any good. And position group or not, you're only good as your last coach. So I'm very down on the Bearcats. Let's move on to at least some hope here with Western Kentucky, who closes out. There's only 10 teams in Conference USA, so here we are. Western Kentucky plus 290 to win the conference, to the second favorite to win the conference. Your season win totals at 7.5, juice to the under. Coach Tyson Helton back again. He's got a great tenure there, 57-36, but it's been a minute since he's won this conference. It's been a little while now. Quarterback Rodney Tisdale returns after kind of a so-so season. What do you think about the Hilltoppers?
Yeah. Listen, you can't complain about the coach. You stay here, you win here. And again, you're not winning the titles, but you're winning enough where you're in it every year. This is a team. Let me see what I just got wrote down from here. And they're Liberty at the top. You got a new OC. How about this? Their offensive coordinator comes in here, Kiev. He was at Mid-Tennessee State.
Bodie. Oh, I know.
They have 3 wins last year.
Yep. I was like, why? I was reading before this show. I was reading a little bit of Bill Conley stuff, and he's like, why is they bringing the guy from Middle Tennessee State who's freaking terrible? I mean,
and maybe listen, maybe it's the alum or something from Mid Tennessee is like, hey, coach from Western, here we're going to pay you to hire this guy, so when your offense does good, we can fire Derek Mason because he looks so bad with this guy's offensive coordinator. Again, 8 or more wins 6 of the last 7 years under this guy. They're going to be in it. Quarterback wise, are they looking at the Florida State kid now, or what's the?
I think it's going to be Rodney Tisdale, but I'm not sure. Brock Glenn is sitting there as well. funny enough, this blends in this team at 0.23 net yards per play. They're 47th in offensive success rate, actually 25th in defensive success rate. The numbers were better than what they did. They should have been the team representing in the championship game as well. Like all these teams, they're all the same, right? But somehow you have to play LSU on November 22nd, get all banged up from that, and then you go lose to Jacksonville State in a 3-point game. The FIU loss at home was a head scratcher. Now, we just talked about how FIU's kind of on their way up, but that was an ugly loss for them. At Toledo was understandable. I think I lost a bet on that game, to be honest with you. I think I was on Western Kentucky against Toledo there. They go to overtime against LA Tech, who leaves the conference. It's I can make an argument with them just like I can with Jacksonville State, just like I can with Kennesaw State, which like I can with Delaware. I'm just going to take a little bit better number with Delaware, but going through all this, I don't mind 10-1 on Kennesaw either. I don't want anybody under 4-1. Jacksonville State's 4.5-1. But, I'm sitting here drawing straws, I feel like, in this conference that has so much transferred out and so much transferred in. And then you're going to have these shows talking about, this position group here, this position group. It's like, shit, dude, they came from FCS, man. They were going against nobody. You don't know how good they're really going to be, and that's what drives me nuts, and that's where I want to be honest with people. It's like when we do these previews, we talk about as much as we can. Maybe we find something like we're putting a little hope in Delaware. But as I said in the beginning of the show, this is the conference that has the most variance. I am less convicted on any of them, but there's going to be ways of attacking them from a speed perspective, when it comes to totals. And obviously a lot of rematches and things that you like to find, Sean.
Yeah, and here we go with these guys. Not a lot of returning starters on defense. Offense kind of plugging new guys in. How do I not overlook the fact that you bring a coordinator from a bad team?
Yeah, right. That's so true. Like, how do you figure out bringing a quarterback? That just slaps you in the face. And Andrew Clark, sorry, I missed this earlier. Where can we bet Middle Tennessee State under 0.5 wins? Yeah, that'd be a fun little alt line right there. If they lost their bad coordinator to somebody, it makes you think that maybe they got worse. And then what's up, Wes? NCAA.
Hey, Wes.
Checking in, Wes. Yeah, man. It's a really messy conference in general, but when you have a team like Western Kentucky with a coach with the kind of tenure that has been there, picking up scraps from Middle Tennessee State, maybe it's like his daughter's getting married to his son or something. It's a head scratcher for sure.
It is.
All right. Well, let's move on to futures, man. Anything either in this conference or anywhere? Did you take a shot at anything kind of coming up? I'll give you one after you're done.
I have 0 conference wins that I played. I got a bunch of win totals, like 20-some win totals. I don't know. I think I have a problem with not just this conference, simply because you expand these playoffs now. These teams, we saw last year at A&M, they literally said, we don't have to beat Texas. And would take a humiliating loss to in-state rival Texas to rest up for the playoffs as opposed to winning and going to a championship game. So I can't – if teams are going to be like that, again, this is more for the bigger schools. It's not something I'm even going to look at. That's not for me. And really, we're talking about how I'm different. How about that for a flat out different? I'm not even going to bother because a team last year that was basically undefeated said, who cares if we lose? We got to worry about the playoffs. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, win the SEC. I think that's a pretty good accomplishment for a team. Hey, we're SEC champs. God knows that Alabama and these schools are running around like, you got to take us. We're the big. How don't you want to hang a banner over a rival? Anyway, for here, I'm going to zig while everybody's zagging. I'm with you on Delaware. Liberty, Western Kentucky, I get it, but I'm going to go with a quarterback who we've seen quarterbacks carry teams.
And a Chuchi. Let's go, man. Chuchi. Yeah, I agree with you there. I'll go away from since you picked that and I did too. I'll just say New Mexico to win the new Mountain West at plus 265 here. Mountain West, you got to remember, there's no San Diego State, there's no Fresno State, and there's no Boise State. Get out of the way, guys. Right? It's like get the hell out of the way. What'd you get? You got Northern Illinois now. You got Northern Illinois when it made more sense for Sacramento State to be there. Sacramento State goes to the MAC. You got Northern Illinois, and they're like 20 million. They paid 20 million or something getting the MAC. I don't know what the hell they did there. Kind of crazy. I like Jason Eck. They won what 6 conference games last year. Their last of 6 games. Awesome close game with the Gophers last year. Jack Lane is back at quarterback. 4 offensive linemen return. I love though. There's no Boise, no San Diego State, no Fresno. And they get both UNLV and Air Force at home this year. New Mexico over 8.5 wins, plus 140. So that's a big one. And the plus 265 to win the Mountain West. That's where I'm rolling.
I have a couple week ones here for you. Or
Okay,
week zeros, whatever they are. Actually, week 1, I guess, September 5th. And they're from this conference. Sam Houston plus I got 18 against Troy on September 5th. And I took Nevada, a little Wolfpack plus 3 versus our Western Kentucky squad here. So little home dog, Nevada. I get Western.
Okay.
I mean, Nevada's. I mean, you're a home dog to Western Kentucky. Eesh. But I'm taking it. There we go. 2 dogs for you. September the 5th.
All right. What was the first
and
one?
I have, you know what else I got here? I was writing down my 22 win totals. Missouri State under 4.5.
All right. There we go. We got to cover that one. Yeah.
564 to win 400. There you go.
What's the juice on the under 4.5?
I guess that's got to be
A little higher now.
115. No, it's not terrible because it's what's that one?
I have it written down. It's minus 115. Minus 170. So it's went up. You guys beat the shit out of that one.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, I got 4 for 5. I got 564 for 4. So that's only about 115 a pop, right? 4. Yeah, 60 by 4. Yeah, so mine's a little lighter.
Yeah, you have a better number that FanDuel, our friends at FanDuel are showing, as well as DK. So there you go, Missouri State under. And what was the number you had on Nevada as a home dog and your other one?
+3.
Okay, Nevada +3 against Western Kentucky with that amazing offense coordinator Western Kentucky has. And what was your other dog?
Sam Houston +18.
Oh, that's gross, but hey.
It is because you'll be telling, and I think it's come down. I think it's like a 17.5 or a 16 now. Is that
only you are betting Sam Houston.
They said, "Look at this moron putting in this. We got to adjust the whole line. He's got to know something. He's got to know somebody on the staff."
I hate to say it, but my number's 14.5. I mean, so it makes sense for me to bet it too.
Right, a little high.
Well, Troy, Troy is supposed to. A lot of people think that Troy's like the little darling to win the Sun Belt this year too. I'm not seeing that, but I know they'll be.
There's a 14.5 and a 15.5 out here.
Okay, so you got a great number there. All right,
look at that one.
Well, we got to call it 15.5. We got to be honest here. All right, honesty.
Yeah, it's 15. We got the DKs, the MGM's got 15.5. Circa's at 16.5. So,
all right. Well, there
you got the little Circa up there. As you get an extra point, shop around
for that one. Sean, awesome job. Thank you so much for breaking down Conference USA, talking about all these wonderful coordinators. Where could our listeners get your wonderful information?
Yeah, there you go. At Mr. Sean Higgs on the X. You give me a follow there. I do the little Midday Money Show daily, and the Sean Higgs YouTube. I put out, well, right now, the little MLB free pick videos at night too as well. But football's coming, so I'll be rolling out a bunch of stuff. So you'll see me around. But I always tweet stuff out off of the Twitter world or the Zeter. I don't even know Exeter. I don't even know what it's called now. It's
Twitter.
I didn't change it to X. Like, what is that? Are you like tweeting? It was easy. What do you do? I send that tweet. What do you send out? An X?
It's annoying that they did that, but it is what it is. That's Elon. He's like, I had to change it. I still like saying tweeting. I think we still call it tweeting. We don't call it Xing, right?
I call it tweeting.
You're going to X somebody. You're going to X.
I still call them the San Diego Chargers, Kiev. So, I mean, that's where I'm at in my life. Yeah.
All right, we'll go Delaware, both on Delaware, and we'll go over 5.5 with Delaware as well at minus 166. Thanks a lot, Sean. We'll be texting. Best of luck this season.
Take it easy, bud. Thanks.